welcome back to Books and Braids, where I give my opinion on books while I braid this mess. Gotta love it. Today's book is What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. I always forget how to pronounce her name. Liz Braswell. And I covered this book briefly in my February reading wrap-up, but I just felt like I needed to do like a spotlight on it. So this is the book we're going to talk about today, and I'm really excited. Also, I did this braid this morning. I really like the way it turned out, so I'm going to be doing something with this. Probably going to be more of like a side kind of braid. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out as we go. Now, let's get right into it. First up, obviously, we have Rapunzel as the main character. And honestly, she was really close to how she is in the movie, so I feel like there isn't like a lot I can say about her because, like, I'm guessing pretty much everybody watching this video has seen Tangled, so she was literally just like that with silver hair. Then obviously there's Flynn Rider, and honestly, he's also pretty similar to the movie as well. I noticed that in the book that there actually wasn't a very clear description of what he looked like, which I'm guessing means like the author intended for him to look like how he did in the movie, which honestly I am perfectly okay with. The next character I'm going to talk about, she was not in the movie, but I really wish she was. She was my favorite character, and her name is Gina. She's amazing. I loved her. It was, how do I put this? She added like more dynamic, like she added so much. And when I read the reviews online about the book, everybody was like, Gina's the best character, and I'm like, who's Gina? Because I have a terrible habit of looking up books before I'm like more than halfway through them. But live action Tangled, I really hope there's a character like Gina in there. She's super funny, she's sassy. She and Flynn Rider kind of like have a sibling kind of relationship, which I absolutely love. I also feel like Flynn does need to be kind of like whipped into shape, and I think Gina is the perfect person to do that. It was really, I want to say refreshing, but I know that's not the right word. What the heck? And she's just kind of like holds the two of them together, and I really wanted to see more of her, and I hope like in the live action Tangled maybe there'll be like a third character like Gina, so I really hope that's the case. The story begins with a brother and sister, and the sister wants her brother to tell her the story of Rapunzel, but not the story of Rapunzel, so he has to get really creative. The entire plot of the book revolves around the question, what if Rapunzel's mother drank from the wrong flower? Because there's a sunflower and there's a moonflower, and her mother drank from the moonflower, which has the power to kill people instead of heal them. Rapunzel stays locked up in that tower for 19 years, and I would go crazy. I would. I could not be up there for that long with, like, no outside time. I mean, I'm guessing there's probably a window in the tower or something, but still. Now, from there on out, the story is pretty much the same. Flynn Rider comes, yada yada yada. Rapunzel escapes her tower, but she ends up finding the snuggly duckling on her own, because all of that happens before we meet Flynn Rider. I think it was like just before the halfway mark when he actually came in, like we like introduced him. He showed up a few times before then. But anyway, the snuggly duckling is where she meets Gina, and that's when they agree, because Rapunzel's like,
I want to go see the floating light.
Gina's like, okay, I mean, I could take you. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Then, again, the events follow are pretty much similar. But then, the first plot twist comes up. Rapunzel had always been fearful of the power that her hair had, because she was told she killed her parents when she was a baby, because her hair is also kind of powered by her emotions, so whatever emotion she's feeling, and if someone were to like touch her hair when she's feeling a negative emotion, they could potentially die. And so she's she's pretty scared. She's like, just don't touch me. And at that point, Gina's like, actually, I have an idea. And she and Flynn are like, oh, cool, okay. And so they take a detour to Gina's mother's house. Since Gina's mother is a witch, she's able to help Rapunzel like get a better hold of her power. And this is where the really interesting stuff comes in, because the moon has different phases. Therefore, during the different phases of the moon, Rapunzel can has several different things that she can do with her hair. And even when it's a full moon, she can either harm people or she can heal them. And I thought that part was just so cool. I never would have thought of that. And maybe that's why I love this book so much, is because there was just so much depth to it. Like, again, I never would have thought the phases of the moon would have had to do anything with it. And it just adds such another layer of just like, wow, that was really, really clever. Anyway, 200 pages later, plus several more plot twists, plus several more subplots, you get a really fun and interesting take on the story of Rapunzel that I really enjoyed it. There was one thing though, one tiny little thing that bothered me, was that the entire reason they went on the journey was so that they could see the floating lights. But about a little more than halfway through, we discovered that they actually missed the floating lights. So like, all that traveling, and they didn't even get to see the floating lights. And that was like the only part that I'm like, oh, that's okay. But it was still a good story, and it ended really well too. Another thing that I had a little trouble with is that since this story is being told to someone else, I had a really hard time reading it in like a teen boy's voice, like in my head. But I always kept forgetting that it was being told to somebody else. But that was another thing that just my opinions in general. It was good. I highly recommend it. It was clean. There was like nothing questionable in it. It is a really fun fairy tale. Anyway, this is how the braid turned out. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I just kind of let my mind do whatever. I didn't have a reference photo. I knew I wanted to do something with a fishtail braid to the side because I love fishtail braids. I kind of feel like Katniss Everdeen right now, not gonna lie. But yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all today. And don't forget to drop your favorite book in the comments below so I can love it as much as you do. If you have any suggestions for a spotlighted book that you'd like to hear my opinion on, please also drop them in the comments. And that's all I have for y'all. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Mwah!